Thank you, thank you. Program Director, Minister Edna Mulewa, President Jacob Zuma, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, our King from here in the Eastern Cape, and Queen Azelonge, Aloyiso, Deputy President of the African National Congress, Comrade Didi Mabuza, the national officials of the African National Congress, members of the National Executive Committee, Comrade Oscar Mapuyane, the chairperson of the ANC in this province, and members of the Provincial Executive Committee, the leaders of our alliance, leaders from COSATU, from SANCO and the South African Communist Party, other traditional leaders who are here with us tonight, religious leaders, Reverend Mehana, and those others who have accompanied you to this function. Isitwalandwe sethu ubaba uMlangeni, who is hoping to win the raffle tonight so that he can go to watch a match in the United Kingdom. So those who are arranging this, could you make sure that ubaba uMlangeni does win so that he goes and watches Liverpool in the United Kingdom? Comrades and friends, ministers of President Zuma's cabinet, members of the executive councils from various provinces, our premiers, our executive mayors from metros and municipalities, all leaders of our movement who are here, I greet you all in the name of the African National Congress. I especially want to thank everyone for gracing this occasion, but more especially President Zuma and President Kenyatta, who I know always have busy schedules, and they have taken time to join us tonight and traveled long distances. In the case of President Kenyatta, a very long distance, and in the case of President Zuma, also a very long distance from the province of KZN and from Durban. We thank you, Presidents, for being here with us tonight. We thank you because this is a special evening. It should really not be a moment or an evening of speeches. It should be a moment when we enjoy ourselves and enjoy the ANC's birthday. This is our 106th birthday celebration, and we thank you all for being here. President Kenyatta's presence here goes a long way in proving that we have a very special relationship with Kenya, but more especially with the people of Kenya, as led by President Kenyatta. And we congratulate you, President, for having won the elections and being President of Kenya once again. also welcome members of the Jubilee Party who have traveled with you. And their travel to South Africa is the continuation of the process of extending very good and warm relations between the African National Congress and the Jubilee Party. And we want also to extend our greetings to brothers and sisters from fraternal political organizations on the continent and indeed beyond. We also want to welcome ambassadors and high commissioners who are also representing their various countries here. Let me say from the outset that I do not wish to take much time with a long speech this evening, particularly to run the risk of dampening your mood, your very jovial and celebratory mood. I will therefore reserve most of the issues that one could have spoken about tonight to tomorrow, because tomorrow the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress will be releasing what we call the January 8th statement, which statement will cover a whole range of issues that the National Executive Committee has spent quite a lot of time debating and deliberating on, but it will also cover quite a number of issues that were decided upon by our conference. So therefore, we will reserve most of that to tomorrow, which is already proving to be a rally that will be very successful as members of our movement travel from all parts of the country to come and celebrate this great day, the birthday of the African National Congress. And they are doing so to come to this oasis, the oasis of the January 8th celebrations, to come and draw inspiration and strength, and also to renew their energies to continue the fight of creating a better life for the people of our country. 106 years of life is a milestone achievement by any account, which many movements and organizations in the world have not been able to achieve, and we as the African National Congress can boast about it in the most humble way. And we have every reason to celebrate this proud achievement, because it is a huge achievement indeed to have kept an organization alive, kicking and acting for 106 years. We celebrate this birthday anniversary fully conscious of the fact that being 106 years old does not in itself mean anything, particularly to our people, warranting dramatic and possibly euphoric celebrations. But what makes this anniversary special to our people is their recollection of what this movement means to them and what this movement has done in its 106 years of existence, because that is confirmed by their own lived experiences, and it is also embedded in their memory and in the memory of their relatives, their friends rather, and many other people through the length and the breadth of our country. It is important to always remember that the ANC is not just a political party. It is a movement of the people of South Africa, which has been driven for many decades by the ideals of freedom, of justice and equality, as well as the sole objective to create a truly united, non-racial, non-sexist, and democratic, as well as a prosperous society in our country. Following the election of the new leadership of the ANC, what we call the top six decided that we should make these celebrations rather special, and we should make them unique by embarking on what we would call a revolutionary pilgrimage. A pilgrimage that will take us through the length and the breadth of the country. Firstly, a pilgrimage that would take us to our roots as an organization, and our roots are our people. To take us to those roots that have held this tree strong for 106 years. And these are deep roots. They go meters and meters deep into the hearts and to the minds of our people. And we did this so that we can reconnect and re-engage with our people who are essentially our base. Secondly, we decided that we should have this pilgrimage, a pilgrimage that will take us to the footsteps and to the footprints of our forebears in the form of our founding fathers, as well as our founding mothers, and a number of past leaders of our movement. This very move, where we retrace the footsteps of our past leaders and our founding fathers and mothers, would enable us to draw great and important lessons from the leaders who have come before us. Leaders who did unbelievable feats of sacrifice and commitment to the people of South Africa. And we felt that we needed to walk into those footprints and go and visit those leaders. And as we did, and as we know, many of those leaders, or all of those leaders we visited, have passed away. And we went to their gravesites. We went to the gravesite of the first president of the African National Congress. And as we were there, one of our leaders in KZN made a speech at the graveside of President John Langalibalele Dube. And she said, "We have come to shake the bones of John Langalibalele Dube." And we were shaking those bones. We're shaking those bones. So some of you who are religious, like me, will know that there is a verse in the Bible, in the book of Ezekiel 37, and one of the verses there, it talks about shaking the bones of those who have departed. It talks about giving flesh to the bones of those who have departed. And it talks about breathing spirit of those who have departed. And in our view, we saw this pilgrimage as enabling us to rekindle the spirits of our forebears, the spirits of our former leaders. And as we were there, we felt that we were on hallowed ground. We were on holy ground as we walked on the graveside of John Langalibalele Dube, Pixlika Isakaseme, O.R. Reginald Tambo, and Khubusana, and Gumede, Puma, and all those whose graves we visited, including Chief Albert Lutuli. This was a great and special moment for the leadership of the African National Congress. And we were drawing inspiration and drinking from the cup of wisdom from those leaders. That's exactly what we were doing. This pilgrimage, the third aspect of this pilgrimage, was to take us back to our heritage. to our heritage so that we can pay homage to those who gave the instruction that the ANC should be formed. And who are they? They are the kings and the queens and the chiefs and the traditional leaders of our people. The traditional leaders of our people played a critical role in the formation of the African National Congress. And we decided that as a leadership we would go and visit our kings, our queens, as well as the other traditional leaders. And this for us was a great moment of nation building, a great moment of cohesion, so that we can demonstrate that we are bringing our people together right across the nation. The first visit we undertook was to King Zwelithini, our king in KwaZulu-Natal. And he treated us to a great feast, only as a king would do. And that's what we did. He gave us meat, we gave him cows, and he gave us a cow bag, which was fantastic. After that, we came here to the Eastern Cape, and I've already greeted Okumkan Beit. We came here to the Eastern Cape, and we went to King Zelonke and to Queen Loloiso, and exactly the same thing happened. We gave them cows, and they gave us cows as well. And some of them were slaughtered on the spot. It was a great joy to see our Secretary General, who is usually a slim person, digging his teeth into a fat piece of meat. Comrade Ace, it was a joy to see the Deputy President doing exactly the same thing. Of course, our national chairperson, into zakhe. Our national chairperson was at home. You should have seen our Deputy Secretary General, struggling like I was on a big piece of meat. And we kept looking at each other, Milano Comrade Chase, said, do we do this? Do we do this? But we realized that we had to do it. And we also went to see the king of the Abatemu. And it was a great joy to reconnect with our heritage, our national heritage. And we committed that we will be going throughout the country to go and see our traditional leaders as we reconnect with our base, our people, and our members. We also, fourthly, felt that we should have this pilgrimage so that we can connect with our spiritual existence in the form of reconnecting with faith-based organizations in our country as we reconnect with Abefundis, Bishop, Archbishop, Amadikoni, and all the others. That is what we have decided we are also going to do. So we will be going through the country, connecting with them, and that program is going to ensue, and we will be in churches, we will be in various places, connecting the African National Congress once again with its base. Fifthly, we felt that we should have this pilgrimage, which would also take us to community-based organizations, so that we can also go and connect with those organizations that continue to work amongst our people, that represent the hopes, the aspirations of our people, but we would also be connecting with our veterans. Our veterans are spread throughout the country, and those are the ones we are going to be connecting with as well. And as you can see, colleagues, this is a broad-based revolutionary pilgrimage that we have decided to make to reconnect and to re-engage with a multi-dimensional and cross-cutting natural and traditional base of the African National Congress. And to give effect to this, we've, as I said, visited the graves of our forebears, and as we did so, we were able to draw a lot of inspirations. And we've also, in this week only, connected with our people. And we've done this as a build-up to the rally, but we've also taken heart to the fact that in order to continue to be the movement that we are, the movement of our people, we need to be doing this throughout the year. We are therefore going to be spending a lot of time amongst our people, engaging with them, listening to them, hearing what their concerns are, hearing what their hopes and aspirations are. We will be doing this throughout the year because that is precisely what our people would like us to do. And as we've engaged with our people have been truly excited to see the leadership. The whole National Executive Committee has been here in the whole province of the Eastern Cape. I was telling President Kenyatta earlier that this is a big province. It has 800 kilometers of sea line. It has almost 1,300 kilometers right across, and the National Executive Committee members were traveling to nearly all the towns, all the districts, all the villages, all the townships, engaging with our people. And in engaging with our people, we have sought to introduce the new leadership to them, as well as to communicate the decisions that were taken at the conference. And the overwhelming majority of our people are truly excited about the decisions that were taken at the conference, which they believe will transform their lives when we implement them. And in many instances, they were saying to us, we would like you to implement those decisions that you took. And we will deal with some of the decisions that were taken in the NEC statement tomorrow. And our people, as we've been engaging with them, have also been very pleased with what I call the diverse architecture of the leadership that was chosen by the delegates at our conference. President Kenyatta, you may or may not know that ahead of the conference that we had, there was a great deal of speculation in this country that that conference was going to be the last that the ANC is ever going to hold. They thought the ANC was going to be divided and we will splinter and emerge out of that conference fractured into various little pieces. They thought that the venue where we held the conference, which we call Nazareth, would be the grave site of the ANC. And some were even saying that there would be a tombstone that would be installed there, which would say, "Here lies the mighty African National Congress, which once governed this country as a glorious movement." Well, President Kenyatta, we disappointed a lot of people because the ANC is still here and the ANC is still alive. The delegates of this conference decided, in the wisdom of the members who asked them to come to the conference, that they are going to choose a leadership and create an architecture of leadership that many people had never envisaged. And they elected a unified leadership. A unified leadership in that they drew people from different approaches, different points of view, and meshed them together and said, we want you to work as a unified leadership to achieve the objectives of the movement. Now, a number of people have been suggesting that the leadership that was chosen is so divided that it is going to be virtually impossible for the ANC to achieve the resolutions that were adopted at the conference. And some have been coming with various types of speculatory analyses. And there is a saying that goes, how much of the mountain you see, or how much of the mountain one sees, depends on where you are standing as you look at the mountain. Now, I can say without any equivocation that we who are in the African National Congress are standing on the right side of the mountain, and we are looking at this mountain where we see strength in this leadership that was elected, where we see unity in this leadership that has been united, where we see power in this leadership that has been elected. That is the right side where everyone needs to be looking at this mountain from. So others are standing on the wrong side. It's like when you want to look at Table Mountain. If you look at Table Mountain from the wrong side, you will just think that Table Mountain is a little mountain that you see in your village. But when you look at Table Mountain from the right side, you will see, particularly from Dane's side, you will see that Table Mountain is a mighty mountain. So we are looking, you see, we are looking at Table Mountain from the correct side. Others are looking at this mountain from the wrong side. So you see, in this leadership that was elected, we see unity in action. We see a united leadership. Yes, of course we're different. Some have got light complexion. Some are like me, they are dark complexion. Some are handsome like me. Some are in between. And we've got different views. We see unity in this leadership. We see this because in this leadership we see diverse talents. We see different viewpoints. We also see different experiences. There are different age groups, and of course the gender distribution is almost what we want it to be. We also see regional distribution, and we see all this as a strength. When some of them speak, they speak with a very high decibel. Like Comrade Mbalula, he speaks at a very high decibel. Comrade Ace Makashule speaks at a lower decibel. And I speak at the middle or something like that. So we're different. And that is the beauty of the leadership that was chosen by the delegates that were at this conference. And that is the strength. Now, the other important thing, of course, is that this leadership received a very clear mandate from conference delegates who said that they want to see this leadership united in everything that it does, rather than divided. Now, we've got a clear mandate. If we violate this mandate by being divided, by speaking in different tongues, we will be violating a conference decision and a conference wish. Now, this leadership knows very well that its mandate is also to unite the African National Congress. That is their overriding mandate. And in renewing, and also to renew the ANC, that is the mandate that this leadership was given. And this is the mandate that the top 6 of the ANC and indeed the whole National Executive Committee are going to make sure that it is executed. We have no other choice but to make sure that the mandate of the membership of the ANC is executed. Whether we like it or not, it has to be executed. Now, I was deeply touched this afternoon when I had a meeting with President Kenyatta. And his remarks were, he said he has come here with his delegation to learn how the ANC has been able over 106 years to maintain unity, and how the ANC, through this unity, has been able to transform South Africa. This is what touched me from the mouth of President Kenyatta, who looks at us as a united organization, and he said, I want to learn how you've been able to do it in 106 years. Now, having led the forces that brought about political freedom in 1994, our glorious movement is still working very hard to achieve unity, but not only unity for the sake of unity, but to have unity in action. We are a movement that is also seeking to achieve socio-economic justice and equality for our people, because the ANC was formed to unite the people of South Africa, but also to transform South Africa. And essentially, having been formed for that, we set off 106 years ago with a clear mandate on what we need to do. When one goes down memory lane, and I've gone down memory lane transported by the words of Comrade Francis Meli, late Comrade Francis Meli, in his book, The History of the ANC, South Africa Belongs to Us. He relates that on the 8th of January 1912, a number of people gathered from all 4 provinces of our country, including people from Bechuanaland and Swaziland and Lesotho. Some came formally dressed, like many of you are. Some came wearing frock coats, top hats, and some came carrying umbrellas. And I've often asked myself, what did they eat on that day? What type of food did they eat? But I have a very quick and easy answer, because as we've been going around seeing the traditional leaders of our country, a number of them have told us that when the ANC was formed, they contributed so many cattle, some contributed a lot of money, and this was widespread throughout the country. And many of them saw the formation of the African National Congress as a very important thing that needed to be supported. And so I have this in my head that they were eating beef, they were eating goats, they were eating sheep, bebeta nomleko, bebeta yonke into on that day. And Pixlika Isakasebe gave the keynote address at that conference. And with a high-pitched voice, this man was educated in the United States, at Columbia University, as well as at Oxford, said, chiefs and royalty and gentlemen of our race, we have gathered here to consider and discuss the theme which colleagues and I have decided to place before you. We have discovered that in the land of their birth, Africans are treated as hewers of wood and drawers of water. White people of this country have formed what is known as the Union of South Africa, a union we have no voice in making the laws of, and no part in the administration of the country. We have called you here, therefore, this is in 1912, to this conference so that we can together devise ways and means of forming our national union for the purpose of creating underlying national unity and defending our rights as well as improving the lives of our people. This is said in 1912. Following his rousing speech, a motion was put before the conference and was passed unanimously with loud cheers by all the delegates standing, and thus the African National Congress was formed. It has been said that this conference signified the birth not only of the ANC, but also the birth of the South African nation. That is what happened on the 8th of January in 1912. That is when the nation of South Africa was formed. The ANC was then assigned the task of being a midwife in the process of national rebirth and regeneration. This meant the creation of the loyalty of a new type of non-tribal loyalty, which was inherently anti-colonial. One of the presidents of the ANC, Dr. A.B. Kuma, has gone on record as saying that the founding fathers and mothers of the ANC displayed great vision and laid a broad foundation on which to build the superstructure for African freedom and liberty in the land of their forefathers. He went on to say that they proclaimed through the organization they set up and efforts they made that only through unity and concerted action of all can justice and freedom be achieved. They also made sacrifices and suffered a lot in the course of doing this. And some went to jail, but they remained loyal to the true cause of the people to unite the people of our country. Now, these founding fathers and mothers made unity of the African National Congress their strategic objective, and as a derivative of that, they obviously aimed at the unity of the South African nation. As this new leadership that was elected at the 54th conference, as it takes office, it has been given a clear mandate to unite the African National Congress. Unity to us is therefore not an option. It is not a choice. It is an imperative. It is a must, in other words. We have no choice but to be united. And we resolved that regardless of the outcome of the electoral process that ensued before this conference, that we will all unite behind the elected leaders who finally emerged. That is the promise that all of us as members of the African National Congress made. And this is precisely what the membership of the ANC has done thus far. It is from our membership that we should take our cue and our example. Even we as leaders might have different views and approaches. We are pleased that following the elections of the new leadership, the membership of the ANC has shown that regardless of which contestant they backed, they have, as per tradition, once a leadership is elected, they've been prepared to rally behind the elected leadership. And that is what the membership the new National Executive Committee that has been elected has seen in a very demonstrable way manifestations of this as we have gone around the country. All the leaders who have been going around the country have received nothing else but overwhelming support. They have been embraced by our people. There has not been a single member of the ANC who has shown any reservations, any sense of grumbling, and all the leaders have been broadly accepted and embraced, and we expect that to continue throughout the next 5 years. So, the unity of the ANC is sacrosanct. It is already underway, and it is being consolidated. And the greatest consolidators of this unity is happening through this pilgrimage. As we've been going through this pilgrimage, seeing our forebears at their gravesites, their bones have been shaking in applause of the leadership that has been elected. Their spirits have been lifted in applause of this leadership that has been elected. As we've been going around seeing our kings and the queens, they have also embraced this leadership and have urged their subjects to support this leadership that has been elected. I have no doubt that the new leadership will also be broadly accepted by all of us. This will make the task of implementing the resolutions of our conference much easier. Our task as a leadership is simple and straightforward. We are here to serve the people of South Africa. We are here to implement the decisions of our conference, and in doing so, we would want to enjoy the support of our membership throughout the length and the breadth of the country, and we know that they support this leadership. We are conscious of the fact that our task as the ANC is not only, as I said, to unite the ANC, but the people of South Africa, but in doing so, for the ANC, as it reconnects with the people of our country, to once again be reinstalled as the leader of society. Now, this leadership that has been elected, as I conclude, has unleashed a great deal of hope amongst our people. Our people are feeling hopeful. Our people are feeling delighted. They have a broad spectrum leadership in the National Executive Committee, and we dare not fail them. They expect that their dreams and aspirations will be met and addressed. And in doing so, they have been enthusiastic themselves in expressing what their aspirations are. Now, there is one compatriot of ours who sent a text message from Limpopo, and he said, now that the conference is over and the new leadership has been elected, we would like you as the leadership to do the following. Please, Mr. President, communicate this to the National Executive Committee. And he cites 10 things. The first thing that he cites is that we want witchcraft to be legalized. That is his wish and aspiration. And the next thing that he says, and this came in a text message, and he says, and I'm happy we're saying this in a jovial, celebratory mood, we want free alcohol. That's what he said. And the third thing that he wants is that we want RDP houses to be double-story from now on. And then he goes on, he says, we want the toilets in those houses to be remote controlled. And then he says something very personal. He says, men should should no longer propose love to women. Women should now propose to men. And then he goes on to say, we want pensions for old age pensioners to be increased from 1,500 rand to 3,500. And we want the child grant to be increased to 1,500. And he says, can you please arrange the calendar to change? We want the 13th month so that we can be on holiday for the whole month. And he then says, the 9th one is that, please remember, free alcohol. And the 10th one, he says, we want the leadership of the ANC to remain united. Now, this wish list came from Limpopo. Now, I don't know whether he's in a structure in Limpopo, whether Premier Matabata knows about this, but it came from a comrade from Limpopo. Now, I don't know the extent to which he wants us to execute this. But it just goes to show that a number of people with this leadership that has been elected are hopeful, and it is this hope that springs eternal in their hearts that we should pay heed to. Now, we can choose which ones of these 10 are wishes that are implementable. But what remains is that we are duty-bound to serve the interests of our own. And I want to end with a big thank you to the private sector who have supported this dinner, this gala dinner. We thank you most heartily for having brought the table. And we also want to thank those who participated in the golf day today. I didn't see Comrade Mlangeni, but I'm sure if he wasn't playing, he was playing in spirit. We want to thank those who participated in the golf day, because that too was meant to raise some funds. We want to thank the provincial leadership for the arrangements that have been made for this dinner, for the golf day, and indeed for the rally tomorrow. And it promises to be a great rally, and that's when the ANC will really come alive and demonstrate to all and sundry that we are indeed ready for the 2019 elections. Thank you very much for being here.